Have you ever listened to an album that just totally blew your mind or changed your perspective on a genre or just opened your eyes up to a whole different reality in music? Well, I've listened to quite a few of those, all in different times of my life. So I'm going to just kind of start this series where I talk about one of these albums. Now, last year, Armand Hammer, which is a duo of Billy Woods and Elucid, released their new LP, We Buy Diabetic Test Strips. And I didn't even know that this duo existed. I knew Billy Woods and Elucid separately, but not together. And so I was pretty pumped. I was like, oh, this seems really cool. So I gave it a listen, and it changed everything for me. Now, I will admit, before 2023, I was pretty basic in what I listened to in the hip-hop world. It was basically every mainstream album, but nothing else. There was no experimentation of me kind of going into different genres in hip-hop, going underground, anything like that. So when I came into 2023, decided I wanted to get a little more serious and expand my horizons in the music world, listening to different genres and all that stuff, I stumbled across Armand Hammer and this album. And I was like, yeah, I got to listen to it because these two are awesome on their own, so they must be great together. And man, was I right, but at the same time, I was not prepared for the toll that this album would take on me. It's pure chaos. The production is a dumpster fire, but not in a negative sense, in the sense that they use any and every sound, and it does kind of feel like you're in like a junkyard or something when you're listening to the production. Sometimes the flow, the beats, they don't seem to match. They don't seem to have the same rhythm that you're wanting them to have. It's challenging music, but the beauty of it is it works, and it works in a way that is beautiful and that is extremely unique, and the lyricism is just, it's full of social commentary. That's kind of what they're known for, and it just all fits together with this weird industrial garbage type of production that is so experimental but at the same time so awesome, and this really intense lyricism and flow, and it all kind of comes together. It feels like it's just beating up against each other, but in the end it works out and it creates this beautiful thing. Well, how did this album change me, you ask? Well, it changed me by stretching me out of the mainstream in the hip-hop world. Now I have categories for this experimental hip-hop that sometimes doesn't make sense, but I can appreciate it and I can listen to it a little bit more until it starts to click. And now I've realized that I have more patience for just all music in general, and that I'll give it a few more listens and I won't necessarily judge right on the first listen whether I like it or not, because sometimes music has to sit with you. Sometimes you have to process it, and that's what this album did for me. And it's just developed this amazing love for experimental hip-hop, underground hip-hop that I never had before, and I think it's just going to stretch to other genres as well, where now I have this patience for music that wasn't there before, appreciation for music that is a little strange at first, but takes a little work to get used to. And if you haven't heard this album, you really need to, because it will challenge you, it will stretch you, and you need to listen to it more than just once.